The signal came from the far edge of known space, from a place most star maps marked in gray. The world was called Keller Station, a mixed-species outpost built near a dark nebula. It was not important to the galaxy. It had no rare resources, no great fleets, no political power. It was only a home for miners, traders, families, and children who wanted a quiet life. On the final day, the station was quiet in a different way. Lights still worked. Systems still hummed. But voices were gone. Inside the control chamber, Commander Rellis stood alone. He was an alien with pale skin and slow eyes, shaking as he watched the sensors. Every scan showed the same result. No enemy ships. No energy signatures. And yet, his people were disappearing. Not dead, just gone. The security teams he sent out never came back. Cameras showed long corridors, empty rooms, and doors opening by themselves. Sometimes the cameras showed shadows that moved the wrong way. Sometimes they showed nothing at all. Rellis had served for 30 cycles. He had seen pirates, wars, and disasters. This was different. This felt like the station itself was being hunted. Then the screen started, short, sudden, cut off in the middle. Rellis knew what the rules said. When a threat could not be identified, when survival chances were low, an SOS must be sent. But there was another rule. One spoken quietly, never written down. Some signals should never be answered. He activated the beacon anyway. The SOS burst across the void, jumping from relay to relay, passing through trade routes and military networks. Most systems that received, it did not even open the full message. Automated defenses flagged it as a high-risk anomaly. The message was simple. Keller Station under attack. Enemy unknown. Civilians present. Requesting immediate aid. Then, after a pause, Rellis added one more line with shaking hands. Do not come unless you are ready to die. He sent it. Moments later, the station shook. A wall folded inward as if space itself had pressed its hand against it. Rellis ran, heart pounding, the sound of metal screaming behind him. He reached the escape pod bay and saw only empty slots. Too late. He recorded one final message. If anyone hears this, we are sorry. It follows help. It learns. Please, forget us. The signal ended. Across the galaxy, reactions were swift and fearful. Merchant guilds locked their routes. Border worlds powered down their beacons. Military councils marked the coordinates and issued a silent agreement. No response. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. The room was filled with beings of light, scale, fur, and steel. The SOS played once. No one asked to hear it again. This matches previous incidents, one counselor said. Outposts erased. No survivors. No trace. We cannot risk exposure, said another. If we send ships, we may invite the threat deeper into the core worlds. The vote was fast. The decision was cold. Keller Station was declared lost. The SOS was archived, locked behind warnings and fear. But the signal did not stop traveling. Long after the Council turned away, the SOS reached a system marked with an old name, Sol, Earth. In a quiet human listening post beyond Mars, a technician named Aaron Blake heard the alert. He frowned. The signal was distorted, old, and flagged by every danger filter in the database. Another ghost call, someone muttered behind him. Aaron replayed it anyway. He heard the fear in the alien voice. The pause before the warning. The final line asking the galaxy to forget them. Aaron did not forget. He forwarded the signal up the chain. Within hours, human analysts studied it. Not with panic, but with focus. They compared patterns, checked energy echoes, and listened to the spaces between the sounds. "It is hunting responders," one officer said. "Then why answer?" another asked. A senior commander leaned forward. Her face was calm, her voice steady. "Because someone has to." Far from the council halls, deep in human space, massive ships began to wake. Engines powered up, armor plates locked into place. No speeches were made. No threats were sent. Only a single transmission left Earth, traveling back along the path of the dying signal. Distress call received. "We are on the way." In the dark between stars, something turned its attention. And for the first time, it noticed humanity. Asterisk. The galaxy had a word it rarely used aloud. Deathworlders. It was not an insult. It was a warning. Worlds were ranked by danger long before humans reached the stars. Most species came from gentle planets. Low gravity. Calm weather. Few predators. Life grew slowly and safely. War was rare. Survival was expected. Deathworlds were different. They were violent by nature. Storms that could flatten cities. Creatures that hunted for sport. Diseases that evolved faster than medicine. Planets where life did not forgive mistakes. Earth was classified as one of the worst. High gravity. Unstable climate. Endless natural disasters. And worst of all, humans fought each other and survived. Again and again. The Galactic Council had watched humanity carefully after first contact. Humans were loud, emotional, and reckless. They argued. They competed. They pushed limits no one else dared to test. And they did not break. That scared the galaxy. When humans began building fleets, most species hoped they would stay close to home. When humans offered trade and aid, many politely refused. When humans asked to join joint defense programs, the answer was always delayed. Now, as the SOS from Keller Station reached human space, old fears returned. At the Galactic Council, alarms flared when Earth's activity spiked. "Human fleets are mobilizing," a sensor delegate announced. A wave of unease moved through the chamber. "They are actually going," someone whispered. "They do not understand the threat," another said. "No," an elder counselor replied quietly. "They understand danger better than any of us." In human space, preparation was calm and fast. Admiral Reyes stood on the command deck of the HFS Resolute, watching stars slide across the screen. She did not raise her voice. She did not make speeches about honor or glory. "Objective is simple," she said. "Find survivors. Stop the threat. Bring everyone home." A junior officer hesitated. "Admiral, records show no one has survived encounters like this." Reyes nodded. "Then we will be the first." The fleet moved as one. No bright formations. No dramatic jumps. Just silent acceleration into the dark. Meanwhile, deep in the galaxy, the truth about humans spread through whispers. Old records resurfaced. Stories long ignored. A mining species remembered how humans once evacuated an entire moon under fire, staying behind until the last non-human ship escaped. A trade alliance recalled a human convoy that returned to a war zone after being paid, simply because they heard civilians were still trapped. "They do not leave people," one alien said, "even when they should." That behavior had always confused the galaxy. Strength was respected. Mercy was understood. But humans mixed the two in ways no one could predict. On the way to Keller Station, the human fleet passed abandoned markers. Wreckage from old rescue attempts drifted silently, frozen reminders of failure. The crew saw them. No one spoke. In the observation hall, Aaron Blake watched the stars. He remembered the voice from the SOS, the fear, the warning not to come. "You think they regret sending it?" another technician asked. Aaron shook his head. I think they were hoping someone like us would hear it. As the fleet jumped closer to the coordinates, sensors began to act strangely. Shadows appeared where nothing should be. Signals echoed back wrong, delayed by seconds that felt too long. Something was watching. On the bridge, alarms flickered. Unknown interference, an officer reported. Does it feel threatened? Reyes asked. The officer paused. No, ma'am. It feels curious. That was worse. Far ahead, in the ruins of Keller Station, a handful of survivors hid in silence. They had sealed themselves inside a maintenance core, barely alive, barely breathing. They had sent the SOS with no hope. Then their scanners detected something impossible. Multiple warp signatures. Large, steady, human. One survivor trembled. Why did they come? Another answered softly, tears forming. Because they are Deathworlders. As the human fleet emerged from warp, their lead ship transmitted a simple message on all channels. We are here. In the darkness, the hunter shifted its focus. The galaxy held its breath, and the Deathworlders advanced. The human fleet slowed as it reached the outer edge of the dead zone around Keller Station. Stars looked dimmer here, as if the light itself was tired. Sensors struggled to lock onto anything solid. Distances changed when measured twice. Space did not behave the way it should. Admiral Reyes studied the data in silence. This place is wounded, she said. Whatever did this, it stayed too long. Orders moved quietly through the fleet. Ships spread out, not in attack formation, but in a wide protective arc. Rescue vessels stayed close to the center. Weapons were powered, but not fired. Humans did not rush in. That confused the enemy. From the shadows between broken structures, something observed the newcomers. It had fed on panic before. It had learned patterns. When help arrived, fear followed. Fear made prey weak. But these beings were different. They moved with control. Their signals were calm. Their ships did not broadcast distress or pride, only intent. Inside the wreckage, the survivors watched through cracked monitors. They expected explosions, screams, death. Instead, they heard a human voice. All non-hostile life signs detected. Locking rescue path. Small human craft launched, sliding through debris with careful precision. Marines moved in pairs, covering angles, scanning not just space, but absence. They spoke in short, steady words. Clear, hold, moving. The first survivor almost cried when a human helmet light cut through the dark. The human knelt instead of standing tall. You are safe, the human said. Not loudly, not bravely, just honestly. The hunter struck then. Space folded. A rescue ship vanished, crushed into nothing without sound. A second was ripped open, metal bending like cloth. Alarms screamed for the first time. But there was no panic. Contact confirmed, a voice reported. Human warships turned as one. Weapons that had never been tested in real battle came alive. Not wildfire. Controlled force. Precision strikes that bent space back against itself. The enemy reacted with speed. It moved faster than sensors. It attacked from impossible angles. It learned, adapted, and shifted. So did the humans. Marines held positions even as gravity failed around them. Pilots flew blind, trusting instinct and training. Damaged ships stayed in the fight, shielding evacuation routes. The hunter realized something slowly. These prey did not flee when wounded. They advanced. A human cruiser lost its engines, drifting toward a gravity tier. Instead of abandoning ship, it fired its remaining weapons point blank, tearing open the shadow that tried to consume it. The shadow screamed. Not in sound, but in pressure, in sudden chaos across every sensor. "It feels pain," an officer said. Reyes nodded. "Then it can lose." The humans changed tactics. They stopped chasing the enemy. They forced it to react. Every move it made was met with resistance. Every attack cost it more energy than before. Fear spread, not among humans, but within the thing that hunted them. It had never faced prey that fought back while protecting others. It tried to retreat. Human ships closed the net. A final human transmission echoed across the battlefield. "You followed our call. Now follow us out." The trap snapped shut. When the battle ended, silence returned to Keller Station. Not the empty silence of death, but the quiet after survival. Human medics treated alien survivors without question. No one asked for thanks. No one claimed victory. They just worked. In the ruins, the survivors watched the stars again. But this time, they did not feel alone. Far away, in the halls of the Galactic Council, emergency alerts lit every chamber. The impossible had happened. The hunters had learned fear. And the galaxy learned something else. When humanity answers an SOS, they do not come as saviors. They come as guardians. And they do not leave until the job is done. The battlefield around Keller Station slowly returned to stillness. Broken metal drifted like dust. The strange pressure in space faded, as if something wounded had finally fled or died far away. Human ships held position, weapons still ready, but no new threat appeared. Admiral Reyes did not celebrate. "Scan everything," she ordered. No blind spots. No shortcuts. Humans had learned long ago that survival was never about winning once. It was about making sure the danger never came back. Inside the station, survivors were guided onto evacuation ships. Many could barely walk. Some cried when human hands helped them stand. Others stared in silence, still afraid that this was another trick. A small alien child gripped the medic's arm. "Are you real?" the child asked. The medic smiled gently. "Yes, and you are safe now." Those words spread faster than any signal. Safe. For the first time since the attack began. The survivors believed it. As evacuation continued, human engineers entered the damaged core of the station. They studied walls bent in impossible ways and spaces where matter had simply vanished. "This thing was not just hunting," one engineer said. "It was studying us, testing responses." Reyes listened. Then it learned the wrong lesson. The fleet prepared to leave, but not before doing something no other species expected. Humans stayed. They repaired basic systems. They stabilized orbiting debris. They placed warning beacons, not to scare others away, but to explain what had happened. Clear, honest data. No secrets. "We do not hide scars," Reyes said. "We learn from them." A final message was sent to the Galactic Council. It was not a threat. It was not a demand. It was a report. Threat identified. Threat engaged. Survivors recovered. Risk contained. Attached was something more important. A rule. The council chamber was silent as the message played. The elder counselors watched recordings of human ships holding the line. Human soldiers shielding alien civilians. Human crews fighting while injured and outnumbered. One counselor finally spoke. "They should not exist like this." Another answered quietly. "They always have." Debate followed. Fear returned. Some argued humans were too dangerous, too powerful, too willing to fight. But others remembered the SOS, remembered that humans were the only ones who answered. On Keller Station, before the last human ship departed, a survivor asked Admiral Reyes a question that many in the galaxy were thinking. "Why did you really come?" The survivor asked. "You knew it was a trap." Reyes looked back at the ruined station, at the lives barely saved. "Yes," she said. We knew. And why? She paused, choosing words simple enough to be true. Because once, a long time ago, humans cried for help too. And no one came. We survived anyway. But we promised ourselves something. The survivor waited. We promised that if we ever heard a call like that again, Reyes said, we would answer it. The human fleet jumped away in silence. In the weeks that followed, stories spread across the galaxy. Not exaggerated ones. Not heroic songs. Just facts. A signal ignored by many. A species that answered anyway. A threat that learned fear for the first time. Trade routes reopened near human space. Some cautiously. Some with hope. New beacons were built, using human designs. Stronger, clearer, meant to be heard, and across the stars? A quiet understanding formed. Sending an SOS no longer meant death. But it meant something else. If humanity answered. The danger would end. Not because humans were kind. Not because they were cruel. Because they were Deathworlders. Born on a planet that never gave mercy. Raised by survival. And shaped by a simple rule they now shared with the galaxy. If you call for help, humanity will come.